So I'm sitting in this boss's office, a wide-eyed 20-year-old something, and I really want to be a sound engineer. Really want to do audio for a living. And he turns to me and he says something like, yeah, look here, kid. If you want to make a living in this industry, you got to do it all. I don't know why he's from Chicago from the 1920s, but that's how he is in my head. And he said, well, you have to take all the jobs in the world. You got to take theater. You got to do a live sound. You got to do recording. Just anybody calls you, you do the gig. You do the gig. Don't just limit yourself to one thing. Make yourself available. Be the yes guy. You always say yes to the opportunity. You never know what that's going to bring you. So after I exited stage right out of this gangster office, I actually took that to heart. And I did everything that people asked me to do, and it's something that is very valuable as advice when you are starting out. Now, there is some value in specializing and becoming really good at a very narrow niche thing. This was back in 2007, and I just needed to get my feet wet, and I needed to do whatever it took to get started in the industry. So my hope is to pass on that advice for anybody who wants to start out and give you a few things that you should focus on and think about when you're starting out in this industry if you want to have a long-term career as an audio engineer, musician, producer, or a creative of any sort. In my career, I've been an in-house live sound engineer for an indie venue with a bunch of up-and-coming bands. I've been a monitor mixing engineer for a sound reinforcement company, a roadie. I've been a School of Rock style teacher like Jack Black in School of Rock. Yeah, exactly like that. I've been an audio tutorial writer on the internet, a poorly paid touring musician, a freelance mixing and mastering engineer, and an audio educator and a business mentor for musicians, producers, audio engineers, and other content creators. I guess once you rack up the different roles and all the experience and you learn how to build a business around this career or a career around these skills, you've made enough mistakes to mentor others on what to avoid. So here are just a few things of what I've learned in the last 15 years of having a full-time career in the audio industry. If a no-name Icelander from a small town can make a name for themselves online in this industry, you are definitely able to do it yourself as well. Another thing I would recommend, especially when you're starting out, is saying yes to opportunities that get you to the next level. Going back to my gangster boss from the 1930s, he recommended doing all sorts of things because you never knew what those opportunities would then bring in. It's kind of like going to college, right? You dabble in a few different things, you find the things that you're good at, and then you specialize in those things. I did a lot of different audio jobs, and then I found my path through the writing and the teaching, and now becoming an educator and a business mentor and those sorts of things. But that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't tried a bunch of different things to know what I like, but also what I didn't like, because you also don't want to go through life wondering if you should have tried these other things. It's better to have tried them and then known that they weren't for you than to wonder into the future. And when you say yes to opportunities, pay particular attention to the opportunities that you're scared of saying yes to. That just might be the opportunity that is going to help you the most, because you're not entirely sure whether you should do it or not, or whether you're good enough to do it. But that's where you're getting out of your comfort zone, and that's where you're gonna grow. For instance, the website Medium hired me a few years ago, paid me $500 to write one of their long, detailed articles about being creative. So they asked me to write a piece on procrastination aimed at creatives, of how to overcome procrastination and how to succeed in the face of procrastination. Because I had no idea how to do any of those things, and I was scared of writing it, and I didn't really know where to start. Naturally, I said yes. It was the fear and the discomfort that told me that maybe this is something that you should say yes to. Maybe this is an opportunity that's going to pay off. But it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't said yes in the face of adversity, because it's right outside your comfort zone where you actually grow as a human being, as you grow your skills. You don't really get out of your comfort zone if you just keep doing the things that you're comfortable with, that are safe to you. You never move the needle, you never push the envelope. There's no way around imperfection. If you're learning something new, or if you're learning how to do something for the first time, it's never gonna be perfect, but the only way to get good at something is to actually keep doing it through practice. So if you just focus on continuous improvement and getting outside of your comfort zone a little bit at a time, it's amazing how much growth that would result in a year. But of course, you do need to be strategic about the things that you say yes to. You may have to start by saying yes to every opportunity that comes your way, but at some point you should be able to pick and choose your projects. And at that point, you want to evaluate each and every opportunity and decide whether it aligns with the goals that you've set yourself and the trajectory of where you want your career to go. If it does, say yes and give it your all. If it doesn't, politely decline and move on to other opportunities. So although having a long-term career involves a lot of different things, a lot of different skills, a lot of different methods, I think two of the most important things to do in order to have the right mindset to run the marathon and not the sprint is to actually have that mentality of showing up consistently year over year and saying yes to the opportunities that come your way, especially if you're afraid of what they might bring. So when your negative self-talk is the loudest, maybe that's the time to tune it out.